The holidays are beautiful times. You get some peace with some family, peace of mind, you get to eat some good food, and you just get to chill out. But while most people are using that time to really escape work, the man who keeps on building during the holidays really sets himself apart from the rest of the competition. Because the truth is simple: if you work the same hours as everyone else, you'll end up in the same boat. But if you rise above people, the average people, and keep on moving when others stop, then that's really the only way you'll achieve true success. Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter, an aspiring young man with aspirations I don't think anyone will ever understand. And in today's video, I want to talk about working during the holidays. So think of it like Christmas time. Everyone wants to go on break, everyone doesn't want to worry, and you tell yourself, oh, it's Christmas, why wouldn't you want to break? But the man who works in those hours is going to achieve so much more progress than the man who just pauses. So let's talk about comfort. So most men use holidays as an excuse to pause progress. They think just because time has hit this point in the year that they want to give up. But that's like the same, context for starting the new year or having a New Year's resolution. Why would you let a certain point in the year dictate whether you're going to work or not? Just because it's January 1st, you shouldn't start a new habit. You should have just did that earlier. Just because it's December break, you shouldn't just pause working. You should just work. But those who do pause breaks, those who do lose the compound effect, are going to lose all their momentum. And that's the importance of it, because when you work hard, you compound. When you do more things and you put more work in, you compound and you start getting better. But when you stop that, first of all, you're not compounding, and second of all, you reset all your progress. Look at habits. Habits are really hard to break and really hard to build. That's why they're habitual. They're just natural. But when you take all your good habits that you spent months building up on, because you probably started when school started around September-ish, and you've spent like a couple months building these habits, and then all of a sudden the holidays come, and then what? You're just going to cancel these habits? You're going to put them to the side? Do you realize how hard it's going to be to rebuild them back up? So while everyone else is just rebuilding their habits after the holidays are over, you would have just been consistently going through them. So while they're spending months behind where they were before, you're getting way further ahead of them. And this is because of compounding. Because instead of just compounding within those few weeks, you were compounding. So you're so much further than them. Because the way compounding works is it works through time. The more time you spend on something, the better it will be. It just gets better through time. And the further you get along time, the better it is. So by just spending that extra time, you're going to get so much more progress than everyone else. And that's because comfort makes people feel like they've really earned a break. But the reality is, when you're a disciplined young man, you don't really earn a break. You're just going to earn a couple moments of pause or rest. But even then, in those moments of rest, the true respite, the true reward comes from actually doing the work. So you're going to ask yourself, have you really fulfilled your purpose? Have you really done what was necessary? And that's why if you look in books like Atomic Habits, they're so essential to this idea, because if you build up the healthy habits, then you don't have to worry about those things. You just naturally do them. Like if you go to the gym every day, then you're going to keep on going over the holidays, are you not? If you play video games every day, are you going to keep on playing video games over the holidays, are you not? So you just have to look at it from just continuing where you're going. And by doing that, you're able to just shoot ahead of everyone else. Think of it like you're in school, you're in high school, and it's math class, and you suck at math. Everyone else has a 90 and you have a 60. The only way you can catch up is if not only you do the amount of work as everyone else, but you do extra work. So you're an idiot. You don't really understand the presentations, right? When your teacher would teach the lesson. So you go home and rewatch the lesson 3 times so you can then understand it, right? That's how much work you need to do. But if instead of you doing it over the holidays, you're just doing it when you're back at home where everyone else is pausing and taking a break, you're doing extra studies to catch up. Here's the catch though. Once you do catch up, all those habits you would have built allow you to slingshot ahead of everyone, which compounds. So you're just compounding over everybody else. And this is the same idea, but just spread over a longer period, which would be the break. So when breaks come, like weekends especially, but just generally like March break, if you're familiar with that, but essentially like especially the summer holidays or Christmas holidays, that's where all the progress comes, right? Especially since at that time everyone just wants to consume, so why not produce? The truth is though, like the world doesn't stop because it's Christmas, so why should your purpose also stop? Why should you put it on pause? And again, like I just said, that's the best time to build because everyone else is consuming. The holidays are when the world becomes really passive, so people like they start binging, they want to start spending money, and they start drifting away from like all their hobbies. And it makes sense because January is right around the corner, so everyone gets lazy and they're telling themselves, oh yeah, the New Year's resolutions will come in and that's when I can work. So that's the best time to produce, that's the best time to sell a product, that's the best time to take people's attention, that's the best time to get the most important currency, which is attention. So, production, like creating, writing, filming, editing, etc., it's way more powerful in those times. Just doing things, working hard is way more powerful, right? Think of it like this. If you go to a gym session and you work really, really hard, like I'm talking a really good gym session, it's likely that you're going to get a little bit bigger on the muscles that you are working on. So let's say you train arms once a week. You do it once a week for arms, right? Every week your arms will get a little bit bigger. If you spend 2 weeks on Christmas holidays not working arms instead of working arms, you're going to be 2 weeks behind, which means you'll be 2 arm growths behind, which means the man who worked really hard and spent those 2 weeks training, of course training all the muscle groups, but in this example, he was training arms, he'll be 2 workout weeks ahead of you, and you'll be able to physically see the difference. Now, expand that to a summer, right? Expand that to a whole year. Expand that to, I don't know, every weekend where he does like a little extra thing or a couple push-ups or a couple pull-ups. That is what makes the difference between the average guy and this, like the professional guy, or not necessarily just the professional, but the GOAT, the guy who wants to really work hard, the guy who really wants to earn what he desires, the guy who really wants it. He's going to work when everyone else tells him to stop working. He's going to work when the whole world pauses, because that's how you get ahead. And if you really, really, really want to get ahead because you feel like you're behind, that's where you do it. If you think you're ahead but you just want to really slingshot ahead, then that's when you do it. There's no consequence of doing it, or no negative consequence, right? Not like anyone's doing anything. You can always find time to be with family. You just got to do the work, right? You gain mental clarity while everyone else really dulls theirs. Everyone else is really losing their minds in the nothingness that are holidays. Now, don't get me wrong. Holidays are beautiful. They're amazing. I can't wait for the winter holidays. I'll go skiing. I'll go see family. I'll get to be with friends. I'll get to be back home, and you know how I am with wanting to be back home, and that'll be nice. But I'm still going to make these videos, even if they're on my crappy laptop, and I'm still going to work on projects. I'm still going to do editing. I'm still going to do scripting. I'm still going to go to the gym. I'm absolutely going to the gym. That's like a couple weeks worth, because my holidays are really long. That's a couple weeks worth of going to the gym, so I got to get nice and big, And the fewer that people are working, the more space there's for growth, because there's all of a sudden that competition really disappears. And when competition disappears, two things can happen. The first thing is people really decide to give up because there's no more competition, and the other option is you slingshot because all of a sudden there's no one holding you back, there's no bar, so you can just go as high as you want. So why not push, right? Screw the sentiment that sky's the limit. The sky is really not the limit. You can go as far as you want. So the holidays don't really slow you down. They ultimately just clear the path ahead. They just give you time to push further. So you got to work through the holiday session. You got to realize it's not an obsession, it's a strategy, right? You don't need to reject your joy, and you don't need to really reject all the enjoyments like I was talking about earlier. You just got to work around it, right? Think of it like, oh, I'm going to do this little bit in the morning, and then I'm going to have the rest of the day to spend time with family. Or just before I go to bed, I'm going to do this. That's how I'm going to be with these videos. I'm probably going to film them right before I go to bed or right after dinner, and I'll fit my studies in between there, and I'll do this and that. So it'll work out. And I know this will work out because I've done it before in the past. And if you're afraid and you've never done it before, then, let this be an opportunity to learn. If you've never worked in between spending time with people and living a life, then allow the holidays to be your opportunity to practice this. So that way you can move into the next opportunity growing. And it might feel like you've never made any progress, but in the end, you would have done a lot of testing that you would have otherwise been so afraid to do, and thus never completed it in the future. So allow this to just be a testing ground, a playground. Who cares if you really make a lot of progress? The goal is to just keep on going, so that way you're ahead of the next guy. But that's important to consider. The goal of getting good is not to be better than the next guy. It's just to be better than your past self. So consider it. If the past self of you, right, or let's say the alternate version of you, is a guy who worked all day, every day, would you be behind him if you didn't work on the holidays? Probably. He'd probably be way ahead of you at this point. So you got to catch up to him. You got to work hard to him. You got to catch up to this perfect version of yourself. You got to try and push for it. Now, are we going to be perfect? No, we're already so far off. But there's nothing wrong with trying to achieve that, right? Even 2 hours a day of just focused effort, is gonna separate you from millions of people who do nothing. Because people in life don't want to put effort towards something they don't even realize. And because you realize it, you're now able to be given the opportunity to give effort to it when no one else wants to. And you got to have just a bit of balance here. I know I've always said you don't have balance, you shouldn't have balance, right? And you're gonna be like, why shouldn't I have balance? Well, you shouldn't have balance if you really want something. If you want to get into like the NBA, you're not gonna have balance. If you want to become like an Olympic racer, you're not gonna have balance. You're not gonna just, you know, balance all these other activities. You're not going to be, an esports player and, a professional racer. You can't do both of those things. So you need to just give it all in if you really want to do good. If you really want to be a great. But you got to be careful though, because when family comes into the picture, when friends come into the picture, you do need to balance gratitude with discipline. So it doesn't mean balancing time with them. It means you need to balance your appreciation of them with your discipline to working hard. Which is why people say being alone is so easy to work, because you don't have to balance anything. You can just full send it. So enjoy the holiday, but don't let it consume you. You got to keep time for working, obviously. Even if it's a little bit, or even if you spend all day, a couple days, just spend time doing it. Ideally, though, it's consistent. Ideally, it's every day consistently, rather than just a couple days where you work hard and give up. Because in that sense, how are you supposed to get back into it when you're done? Versus spending every day doing it, it's so much easier to build up the habits. So while others are unwrapping gifts, you gotta unwrap your opportunity. So you gotta read, write, train, refine your craft, do whatever you're doing, just get better at it. That's how you build an uncommon life. That's how you build a disciplined man. Because a disciplined man can't really rest without losing momentum. Or pardon me, a disciplined man, he can't rest happily knowing he can lose the momentum. Because a disciplined man will work hard enough to achieve rest without losing it at all, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is a disciplined man will avoid rest because he just wants to work hard. That's why he can't achieve it happily. But a disciplined man will also learn that there's opportunities to achieve rest while the work does its own, right? Think of it. I don't need to be constantly checking my YouTube channel for it to get views. So I can spend my time working on other things or sleeping, and it'll do its own work. Or consider online trading. The stock market manages itself, so I can achieve rest. But I've only achieved that through having the discipline of managing and pushing my work towards actual proper systems like YouTube or the stock market. So a disciplined man can achieve rest without losing momentum, but only if he's disciplined enough to push beyond, resting all the time, like the holidays. So you have to at least do a bit of work at all times to find the right systems and do the right research and push yourself towards the right goals. But you don't get that if you're not working holidays. You understand? So, the world rewards producers and not consumers. And we start to think okay, well, don't consumers get rewarded with the consumption of the thing? But that's not the case. Most people spend their holidays just talking, so they want time, they want food, they want attention, they want entertainment, they just want to feel cozy. But just a few people really choose to give. So people choose to avoid giving value. They don't want to give art. They don't want to give love. They don't want to give creation. They just want to receive it in the holidays because everyone's tired. So you got to become a man who's giving. And think about it this way. Even outside of work, even outside of this whole business idea, if you're a man who's giving on the holidays, are you not just a better man? Think of it like you're in a relationship and you have a girlfriend. If you spend the holidays just giving to her, is she not going to love you more? Are you not going to seem like a better man rather than just begging and receiving? Right? The holidays is no excuse to stop being a man, so just keep it up. That'll build your relationship, and it'll also build your character, and it'll make you just a stronger man. So why not do it? Why not work on the holidays, even if it's just a little bit, right? Do a couple push-ups here and there, run like a little lap or something. You just do something. That way you're ahead of yourself who did nothing. And you can't become extraordinary only by receiving too, right? Creation defines the masculine journey. So you need to create, you need to do. We're given this God-given gift of our beautiful mind. So just do something, produce something, make something. You have all this time where you don't got to worry about other things. So just take that time to make something that's worth worrying about. Make something that's worth wanting to pursue. Don't take that time just worried about consuming when you can produce and pursue. Every hour you spend producing, people are just going to spend that time consuming to build separation. They're going to separate themselves from the dreams. They're going to separate themselves from their habits by just consuming other things when you can be spending that time producing and working harder. And this is a little dangerous because it seems like now I'm just nagging at you. You got to work harder. You got to work harder. But the truth is, you don't got to work harder. You just got to keep on working now, right? The same progress you're at now, just continue that through the holidays. You don't got to work harder, maybe even soften it a little, but just keep on working. Just keep it up. Don't slow down. The moment you start to slow down is the moment when people catch up, right? If you're in a race and you just have to have the pedal to the metal, and the moment you start lifting your foot off the pedal, people are going to catch up to you and you're going to lose. So if you want to win, just keep your foot down there. Don't stop just because the holidays, right? So while the world consumes, the builder will quietly change his future. And that's the truth. People aren't really going to notice this. Maybe your family might say, "Oh, you're working hard," but it's a silent journey. It's a difficult one, but it's that work that's necessary for you to slingshot ahead. Even if it's only 2 weeks, even if it's only 2 days, you just can't give up. You got to keep it working because things compound. That's why habitual activities are so important, because habits are things you do every day. So do something every day, right? God gave the man work not as a punishment, but as a purpose, right? We want to work hard for something. We want to work to achieve things. So why not use it all the time? Working through the holidays can be really a spiritual act too, because it shows your gratitude for God's gifts through your discipline, right? Now, it's nice to have a blessing to chill out, but is he just going to want you to be lazy? No, you're not put here to be lazy. You're put here to work hard and, of course, be appreciative. So you can appreciate things. You can take the holidays as an opportunity to be grateful for everything, which is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And you can go enjoy things. You can go out and do things, within reason, right? Like, obviously, don't go out and get blackout drunk, but you can go out and ski with a couple buds, right? But, you should also take that time to work a little bit, get your daily regiments done. So for me, that would be getting my daily video out, getting my daily workout out, doing a bit of shadow boxing, doing a bit of studying, working on a project. That would be my daily requirement. If I can do those things, then sure, I didn't add anything new onto the pile. I didn't add anything new that otherwise I would have done at school, but I kept it consistent. So by the end of it, I would have had a couple weeks worth of those activities to push me beyond where I would have been otherwise. So it's not about always adding new things. It's always just about, at least in this context, keeping consistent and building your habits, so that way when everyone else is losing their habits, you'll actually make yours stronger. So in this sense, you're honoring your blessings, your blessings, by just improving them, right? If you're blessed by something, would you not want to refine it to just make it a better blessing? So you're honoring your blessings in your life by just improving them. By working harder when everyone else isn't, you're actually improving the blessings you'll receive in the future by making them enriched with this hard work that you've done over the holidays. And the true rest, right? Because if you're only wanting rest here and you're just looking at the holidays after resting, the true rest comes after your contribution. The true rest comes after all the hard work is done and you've achieved all your dreams and you're able to put it on a pause. But right now, if you're watching this video, you're probably not there yet. You're probably at the point in your life where you got a huge block of work ahead of you and you just need to grind it out. So take this time as an opportunity to work hard, right? Take this time as an opportunity to want to work in the upcoming days, right? Especially over the holidays, especially with Halloween coming up. People are going to do degenerate things, and that scares me, frankly, because I have people I care about who I don't want doing degenerate things. So why would you yourself do those things as well? So just take the time to work hard. Take the time to separate yourself from others so you can become someone better than yourself you are now. So work is like worship when you're done with purpose. So you're really worshiping God. You're really showing God how good of a man you can be by doing the work. Because would he want a lazy soldier? No, he wants a hardened soldier. He wants a strong man who's firm in his beliefs, who's firm in his hard work. So why would you not want to do that? Why would you not want to become that and work over the holidays? And additionally, anyone can rest when it's easy. Anyone can rest and give up when it's easy, like the holidays. But a man of purpose is going to work when it's hard. He's going to work when it's really simple and easy to give up. He's going to work when everyone tells him, "Oh, give up, it's the holidays," or "It's okay." He's going to give up when his mom makes him cookies and he's trying to be on a diet. He's going to give up when all his friends go and get food, but he should be really starving himself. Right? When people want to just play video games and he wants to be working and people invite him out, he's got to work hard and tell them no. He's got to be firm in his beliefs. Because the difference between the average guy and the great guy isn't talent or luck. It's just your consistency. It's just your ability to do things and build the right systems. especially with money. If you look at the stock market and investing, people who are rich aren't always just these lucky or crazy talented people. They're actually mostly idiots. They just were consistent with their work, and they weren't like having this incredible work ethic where they were grinding every day and hating it. They just made a couple small changes that made their life a bit better than yours. That's it. And then they found the right systems to invest. That's all. They're not geniuses. They're not insanely talented. They're not insanely hard workers. Like, they're not all like David Goggins, right? They just built the right systems and the right habits that slowly brought their life better than yours. Because we all start from the same area, but it's when and how we want to work that determines where we end up in the future. So this Christmas or Halloween or whatever next holiday it is, while others are resting, just take one small step forward. Because small steps on quiet days, they're going to lead to giant leap forwards. Whoa, I butchered that completely. They're going to leap. Whoa. Okay. Pause. So this Christmas, while others take a rest, just take a small step forward. Just do something, just a little thing. Because small steps on quiet days are going to lead to great leap forward, in the years ahead. I still butcher that. Goodness me. Well, whatever. You get the point. The point is that, just do a little bit of work. Just be consistent. Because in the future, eventually all that little work is going to compound even greater, and they're going to be giant leaps. They're going to be huge, monumentous changes. Like the stock market, if you didn't invest $5 every day, you wouldn't be making millions a couple years down the line, right? So it all depends. It's all based on how much you're willing to put in. So put it as much as you can, or at least put in consistently, right? Don't put in $100 and then never again. Just put in $5 every day type of deal. So that's really it. That's all you got to know. Just do the work on the holidays. Do the work when other people are just chillaxing and try to take a break, and understand that you can take a break. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to pause, but don't ever let your foot off the gas pedal, and keep it there as long as you can. So do a little bit of work every day, keep your habits, build them stronger, and then when everyone else is complaining about how they have to rebuild into everything, how they have to come back into their school, come back into the world of life, you already would have been living it that entire time. You would have already been refining it. You would have already been working towards your dreams while everyone else is just remembering theirs. So yeah, that's all. It's not that complicated. Just be consistent. But that's what it means to be a good man, is consistency, no matter how challenging it is. My name is Nolan T. Painter. Pardon my mess ups near the end of the video. I guess I got some consistent working to do on my own. But that's all for now. I'll see you tomorrow, and thank you very much for watching.